host, Olin Makoni, the National Gender Secretary with Zimbabwe National Students Union, coming live from the Studio of Choice. Now, the Studio of Choice was built by the Embassy of Sweden in Harare, and we're ever grateful to them for their support. Now, today, we're going to be discussing around the most outstanding issues in the Marriages Bill. As we all know, or at least as most of you know, the Marriages Bill has been getting a bit adventurous and exciting with the legalization of casual sex, the legitimate casual relationships, and now the repealing of the criminalization of HIV. So today, we want to discuss about how best we can get the community to participate, how this law, how this bill affects the youth, how this bill is going to change the Marriages Act, and how it's going to reduce stigma. So with me here, I have two guests. I'll start with you, ma'am. Please introduce yourself. Tell us where you're coming from.
Compliments of the day, everyone. I'm Melissa Nemangwa, a psychology student at Midland State University, the University of First Choice, and I am proud to be a peer educator.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. My name is Emilia Mandaza. I am a registered legal practitioner. I work at a law firm called Chinogwenga Njengaja in Eastleigh. I am an associate. I've been a lawyer for the past 7 years, and I do specialize in family law. And I'm really happy to be here. Thank you.
Thank you very much for joining us. Indeed, we have the legal hand in the house today, which is our burden of proof. It's going to get exciting. So if you ever feel like you want to talk to someone, you want to report gender-based violence, you want information on sexual health, reproductive, you want information on sexual health education, feel free to call our toll-free number, which is 577, and it works 24/7. Again, thank you. We take a break.
The chase.
The chase, the chase.
The chase is here.
Be part of this chase. The chase is here.
Be part of this chase.
Hey, have you heard about this amazing talent competition?
What competition?
It's organized by Say What.
Welcome back, and if you're just joining us, please feel free to drop your comments in the comment section. And if you hadn't liked or followed our page, this is a good time to do it because more exciting shows are going to be coming up. Now, I would like to ask my friend here, Melissa. Melissa, I understand there's a new pandemic going on that is a bit more hectic than COVID, the Mjolo pandemic. Now, I would want to hear from you, Melissa. How easy is it for a partner in a sexually active relationship to tell their other partner that they're HIV positive?
That one is very tricky considering our generation. You can just wake up in the morning and tell my partner, hey, I'm living HIV positive. And you'll be like, what? It's something that you cannot tell someone, you cannot disclose. It's hard for a person to accept that he or she is living with HIV. What about the next person to accept that he or she is getting intimate with someone that he is living with HIV and positive?
Okay, but now I understand that around 2001, when HIV was criminalized, when HIV transmission was criminalized, they're saying that it would be a crime for somebody to intentionally transmit HIV to somebody, to their sexually active partner, right? But then when this act was put in place, when it was approved, we saw the introduction of many objects, the introduction of PrEP, pre-exposure prophylaxis. We also had the introduction of post-exposure prophylaxis, whereby we're saying that we're actually giving these people a chance to open up to their sexual partners so that they can take adequate measures in time, right? And then we're also saying that during this period up to 2022, where we are standing right now, it will become quite easier for partners to question each other that we are about to have unprotected sex. Are you safe? Am I safe? So I need you, Melissa, to tell me what you think the decriminalization of this HIV transmission is going to change in those kinds of relationships. You know, as kids who are into everything, these days there's casual sex, there are one-night stands, you know, there are 2 minutes and short times, of course. But how is this act going to affect these stances in our relationships as the youth?
For me, the demerits and the merits of this bill are they work hand in glove like a pendulum effect. Consider the negative side. We're saying that it's not a crime to intentionally transmit the virus to the next person. How can that be not a crime? You cannot tell your partner that you are living positive, then you go ahead, have unprotected sex with the next person. The next person contaminates. Then on the positive side, we're saying that for a person to disclose, there's the issue of stigma and discrimination. That's how the society evolved. So these factors, they go on and on playing down each other. We cannot really reach a point whereby we can say, yeah, this is for the good or this is for the bad. It continues to hit each other like a pendulum effect.
Okay, thank you very much, Melissa. So Melissa here is pointing out that we cannot measure intention. How do we measure intention that this person intended? How do we also know maybe somebody was not aware that they were HIV positive and they indulged in the act, then their partner is now infected? How do we measure these mistakes? How do we measure these incidences? It is up to you, the floor, to tell us what is on your mind and what you think. So now I'm going to pass the baton stick to the legal hand that we have today on the program. Maybe if she can shed more light on the repealing of Section 79 of the criminal law on the willful transmission of HIV. How does it change the whole platform of the marriages bill?
Thank you for that question. I think I will start from the angle of where does it change the environment around HIV/AIDS in Zimbabwe. The decriminalization of the willful transmission of HIV changes the fact that people no longer can be arrested and jailed for up to 20 years for having sexual intercourse with someone, knowing that there's a real risk or possibility that they might be transmitting the HIV/AIDS pandemic to them. So what would happen was you'd have to prove that you did not know that you had HIV, or that there was no possible way for you to know that you had HIV and that you didn't know it at the time that you engaged in the sexual act. So the problem with that was it was very hard to prove that you didn't intend to give someone HIV. There were so many cases in which people were jailed who were actually innocent. So for that reason, they had to decriminalize this willful transmission. And for that, the marriages bill had to be amended.
You said something that caught my interest. You said one has to prove that they were not aware that they were HIV positive. But ma'am, I would like to ask you a question. Just how many times do we have people who are alleged to have broken into people's houses and now they're in court, and when they're given a chance to defend themselves, they say they were not aware that it was a crime? How are those people dealt with? Are they charged all the same?
Of course, they had to be charged the same because the requirements for the act of robbery, in your example, are different from the requirements in the act of willful transmission. For example, in a robbery, for you to actually get into a person's house is a crime, whether you know it or not. But however, this crime is called willful. Willful means you have to intend to give someone the HIV virus. So in this case, just the act of being infected with HIV before the act might actually make you liable to be imprisoned for transmitting the virus.
But ma'am, don't you think that with all the information that has been disseminated, with all the efforts and the awareness campaigns that have been held in light of HIV and AIDS, we even had the late Oliver Mtukuzime, so rest in peace, going viral and vocal about it. We had the era around 1997 when this disease came to our country and everyone was scared. Those days, if you just got a little bit darker in complexion, people would just begin to suspect if you had ginger hair or if your hair was not so black, So everybody, to some extent, has some knowledge, even from as little as hearsay, that there is HIV and AIDS. Meaning that to some extent, when they're about to indulge in a sexual activity without protection, they should at least fear for themselves, or else, otherwise they should at least fear for their partner. Whereby they'll then ask themselves, what if I'm not safe? Because HIV is not only transmitted through sex, there's sharp objects, there's a whole lot of things. So, ma'am, don't you think that we as Zimbabwe, we need to pass a law that entails that by virtue of being a Zimbabwean citizen, just the way that you cannot unwillfully rob somebody, you should also not unwillfully transmit HIV to somebody else, because the services are available. We have ZNFPC, we have National Population Zimbabwe, we have many organizations, we even have Say What, and you can get tested anyway. You can even do the self-test. The services are available. So don't you think that we should have a law in place that is equated to that of robbery, because some people don't even believe that they knew they were robbing somebody. They just feel they laid something, they saw where it was, they had the opportunity to take it and also the strategy to take it, and they took it, and now you're saying there's toll. I mean, balance me here. What do you think? I think you're getting what I'm saying.
I totally get what you're saying, and I do agree with you in so many ways. But what I would say in support of this decriminalization is the fact that there's so many people living with HIV in Zimbabwe who don't actually know they have HIV. Maybe because they're afraid of getting tested, or because of just general lack of knowledge, maybe in rural areas or isolated areas where they don't have organizations like Say What, who give them the information and the resources and the self-test kits that they need. So sometimes people don't know at all. I have an example of a case that was in the courts recently of a woman who was convicted of willful transmission of HIV. At the time, she didn't know that she had HIV. But she had breastfed someone's child, and she didn't know that you could give someone HIV through breastfeeding. Although there's a very, very small chance that you can, and it actually depends on how much you breastfeed. But what happened was she was convicted because she gave someone's child, she breastfed someone else's child, and that person's mother got her arrested for willful transmission of HIV. So then she appealed that matter in the Constitutional Court, and the conviction was overturned because the court said you cannot jail someone for intentionally transmitting HIV if they don't know that they had HIV at the time. And also, the fact that they're breastfeeding someone doesn't automatically mean that you're going to pass on HIV. It depends on the length of time that you're breastfeeding, the amount of viral load that is in the breast milk. So there's so many issues that were interfering with this act that they decided, no, let's just remove this act totally, because it's causing stigmatization, discrimination, which is against the Constitution as well. So that's why they had to sit down and discuss with lawmakers and decide, no, let us decriminalize this act because it's causing more harm than it is good.
Okay, thank you very much. So the question now is, what do we do next? This law is about to be passed, it's about to be approved, and by the President of Zimbabwe, His Excellency, Mr. Emmerson Mnangagwa, and it is up to us to make a decision fast and swiftly, and also to be sure of what is before us if this law comes into being passed. So now we also need to look at whether, if this law is passed, aren't people going to take advantage of that law and now begin to willfully transmit HIV? Because we cannot measure intent. Is there a scientific way to measure intent? Is Zimbabwe ready for this bill to be passed? After the break. Welcome back, and if you're still joining us and if you're still with us, remember to save the number. The toll-free number is 577. You can save it however you remember it. Report suicide, report attempted suicide, report gender-based violence, report cyberbullying. Now, moving on, I'm going to hand over to Melissa now to explain and to further on conclude. In terms, when we look at how our university life is now structured these days, we have cohabitation, we have semester marriages for different reasons, and this bill seems to be fitting in and affecting in a number of ways. We also have multiple relationships. So, Melissa, what should be done? How is this going to affect the youth? How is this going to affect these semester marriages? And what do you think should be done?
Looking at this marriage bill, it is more being said, it's more being talked about in the social media streets. Some fights require more than just social media attempts. We need to go to the youth, talk to them, feed them with information about this bill, feed them with knowledge on HIV and STIs. We talk about semester marriages. People, they live together for a whole semester, that's up to 4 months. They go home. The next semester, the guy or the girl is having another boyfriend, another girlfriend. That's another semester marriage. These guys, they're having sexual intercourse. During the first days, they'll obviously condomize. But as time goes on and on and on, they'll just say, we're going to roll it on. It's like, we are married after all. They call each other hubby, wifey. And this marriage bill says that if you stay together for less than 5 years, you're not married. So I think this marriage bill is actually encouraging people to indulge in more casual sex, which will lead to the more spread of the virus, because there's no fear of anything. There was fear of someone being incriminated, someone going to jail. Those days, there's no fear. People will be like, tongo chaya mapoto for mahala. There's no fear. So it's not actually helping the youth. We need things that are practical, not just to write theories to spread to people, but we need practical solutions. We need mitigation strategies that will actually help the youth, not mitigation strategies that will increase the risk on the livelihood of the youth. They say that we are an unfocused generation, but will this make us focus? It's a question.
Wow, very powerful and quite touching, coming from the youth and of course the largest population in Zimbabwe, the feminine domain. Thank you very much for that, Melissa. So Melissa is here saying people are going to take advantage. So moving back to you, ma'am, don't you think that we need other legal instruments that go hand in hand or that are set and approved concurrently to this bill, because we cannot scientifically measure intent, and we also don't want people to take advantage of this bill? What is your call?
Absolutely, I agree with you. We do need the legislature to pass another law which does help to criminalize this intentional passing of HIV, because as it stands, if they decriminalize this, what is there? There's nothing left. So they need to pass a new law that does cover the elements that are essential. That way, at least it can deter people from passing on HIV intentionally to other people. Because as it stands, we don't have anything. Maybe you can try to use the angle of assault to say that someone would have intentionally done it. Some people even posted on Twitter to say that I've been infected, I'm going to infect as many people as I want. We need a law that can cover certain instances just like that to make sure that people don't go around passing around HIV to everyone.
So from us to all of you, is Zimbabwe ready for this, for the passing of this bill? Are the youth ready? Are you ready? I don't feel ready, but you still have a say. So please, if you have any more contributions that you feel should have been highlighted in this show, highlight them in the comment section. And please remember to call our call center if you need help, if you need somebody to talk to, if you need counseling services, if you need to report gender-based violence, if you need education on sexual health and reproductive education. Call our toll-free number 577. And as most of you know, we have a new program running, the Action for Choice 2 project. So please, if you know somebody who has contracted TB but needs more information, or if you need information for them, call our toll-free number as well. And please participate in our activities that are currently running, and feel free to reach out to us on our various social media platforms that have been highlighted below. Thank you.